The run screen is pretty much the business end of high tech. It's where a great number of the features and uses of Meet Manager are going to take place prior to and during a meet. Everybody go up to your main screen, go to Run. If you click on that, it's going to bring up a screen that looks like this. Your top left part is going to list all the events that are in the meet, how many heats are in that event, and if there are entries in there, it's going to list all the swimmers that are in those particular heats. Notice up here, the numbers right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. That allows you to move from one heat to the next by clicking on that particular box. From the run screen, this is where teams will take care of functions like meet consolidation, any substitutions for the meet that go on prior to the meet. It'll also take, this is where the swim teams will enter the actual times for the events down here in the finals time column. And it's also where any disqualifications will be recorded under DQ for that column. Inputting times for a particular event is as simple as just typing in the raw number. No punctuation is needed. So a time of 21.34, just type in 2134 and either use the cursor to move to the next box, enter will move to the next box, or you could literally click on the next box to move on. Notice when I've entered the time, it automatically places the swimmers. HPL is the heat placement, PL is the overall placement of a particular event. If I had a disqualification in an event, I would click on the DQ box, and if I wanted to list what the disqualification was for, I would click on DQ code for the box, and it brings up a nice long list of all the possible options for disqualification. This is also where teams will go through and, like I said, make any adjustments to their entries, either for meet consolidation or to substitute swimmers in who are late arrivals. That can be done with the adjust function right here, adjust, or the F8 key. If you click on that, it brings up a particular event, all of the heats that are listed, and allows you to also, if you want to, notice up here I've got hide athletes highlighted. I could click on show eligible athletes, and it brings up all the eligible athletes for a particular event. I can move this screen up to view more athletes and fewer heats, or vice versa. I can move it down to view more heats and fewer athletes. Again, you've got a little scroll bar right here. If you click on that and move the mouse down, it just moves down, or you can use these arrow buttons to scroll that direction too. Anytime you make a change in a particular heat, say for example I removed Miss Cully Loudermilk from heat 5 lane 6 by double clicking on her, and I've made this change. If I try and leave this screen by closing it, it's going to say, wait a minute, you've made these changes, do you want to save the changes? The answer would be yes or no if you made a mistake. I'm going to say yes, and it closes out. Go back to adjust. Notice up here though there's a save feature. Anytime you go in and make changes on this screen, just as a rule of thumb, click on save if you like what you've done, and it'll close the screen for you. The other things of interest, if you do have meet records listed, those will actually be highlighted over here. And if a record was listed up here, and you can't see it right now, but if a record's listed, it'll actually, once the entry times are in there for these particular events, once you put in the times, it'll actually allow you to see if a record was broken. This record will actually change color from white to blue. Also, the team scores will be listed as you go along. Notice the buttons in the middle of the screen. A couple of items of interest that are important. The big one is score. Once you're done inputting all of the results for a particular event, you would click on score, and it's going to scroll through and create a score report. I'm going to scroll down to an event that I've already got scored and show you what that'll look like. This one's got all the results in. Once I've clicked on score, it brings up a nice report that looks like this. that's a result for the event. Once a report's created, you can again click on the print icon and it'll actually print that particular report. Close that, go back, and notice once I've scored the event, it brings up the team scores through that particular event. Other items in the run menu, notice you've got labels. This is where you'll print award labels, and I'll cover that in greater detail a little bit later in the presentation. But that's the option where you'll go select to bring up your award label screen. Other things of interest from this screen, if you do have timing equipment at the meet and you're tied into it, you'll go to Interfaces and Setup, and you'll select Timing Console. And it's going to tell you what timing system you have. In most cases, it's either going to be Omega Aries 21, or it may be the generic network file sharing IST, that. Once you've selected that, you click on OK, and it'll go back. And again, let's go back to Interfaces. In some cases, you'll need to do things like open a port for the particular timing equipment. It'll allow you to go through those steps to do that. Other things of interest, again from the run menu, you have a great number of reports at your disposal. Click on reports, you can look at the things that you've got available. You can click on team reports, athlete rosters, psych sheets. This is where you can generate meet programs, lane timer sheets, results, scores, all sorts of good things. Beyond that, you also have access to your athlete menu from the run screen. You can click on athletes if you quickly need to get to your athlete screen to make any adjustments there. We'll close that. Same thing for your relays. That was an option that was available on the main screen from Meet Manager as well. That again gives you options right there to go through and see particular relay events and make any adjustments to heats and lanes or to relay personnel if you like. We'll close that. The seating feature, leave that one alone. That's never used. That's a pretty good recap of the run menu.